Greetings from Tallahassee, Florida. I'm Robert Stewart with the Gray Robinson Law Firm. We have the great privilege of representing the Florida Library Association up here in Tallahassee. And while we're in the midst of session, we're about 3 weeks left, 3.5 weeks left until the end of the 2021 regular session. We are in the midst, as all of you know, of unprecedented times here in Tallahassee. And that's true, of course, all over the state and all over the globe. But here in Tallahassee, as it relates to the legislative session, it is particularly interesting and different, at least as it relates to how we advocate on your behalf during these months that the legislature is convened. As you probably are aware at this point, the Senate does not allow for in-person meetings inside the Capitol. So any advocacy with our senators has been through Zoom and telephone calls and sometimes out of the office meetings. But in order to get in front of them, we have to be creative. The House allows for a bit more in-person advocacy, but even that is very limited and must be done either on a first-come, first-served basis for committee meetings, or oftentimes you are escorted into the building and then escorted out of the building before and after your meetings take place with individual members. And some members, just out of abundance of caution, are not taking any meetings. But regardless of what the format is, rest assured that we at Gray Robinson, in partnership with your executive director and your leadership team at the Library Association, continue to work tirelessly on your behalf in order to advocate for the things that are most important to the Florida Library Association. Getting into that, let me give you a quick update of where we are from a budget perspective, as the House and Senate just this week passed their individual budgets. The House passed theirs and the Senate theirs, and now that readies us for what's called the budget conference. Those of you who follow this process from year to year know that budget conference is what ultimately generates the final budget, which is voted on by the House and Senate at the end of session, which becomes our fiscal year spending plan beginning July 1st of 2021. In those two budgets, the libraries are pretty well positioned right now, with library cooperatives funded at least in part in both sides, and the state aid program, which is the number one priority of the Florida Library Association, is getting $2 million, a little over $2 million additional dollars in the Senate's spending plan. And the House, we have at a minimum our $17 million in recurring money, which exists every year in the Department of State-based budget. Those two budgets, so you'll know, were built and passed based upon January revenue estimates. Those January revenue estimates are going to increase significantly next week when the Revenue Estimating Conference releases the April numbers. It's widely expected that due to the performance of our economy, due to the way Florida is continuing to build our way out of this pandemic, that those revenue estimates are going to be much, much brighter as we look ahead. And it'll be those April numbers that the legislature uses in conference to build the final product. Additionally, there's federal money that I'm sure you all are watching for your local governments or for your individual libraries or just watching the news. Florida's slated to get roughly $10 billion in federal aid through the American Rescue Plan, which was passed by Congress and signed into law by the president just a few short weeks ago. In the budgets that I just mentioned, the House has spent some of that money in various ways through the back of the bill, allocating the money for the current fiscal year. The Senate is yet to spend any of it, but we do expect that between now and the time the final budget passes, that much of that money will begin to be included in our spending plan. That bodes well for one-time projects. It bodes well for shovel-ready projects. It bodes well for additional non-recurring money into things like the state aid program, which, while it may not be additional recurring money annually, it could help fill the gap in the reductions that we've seen over many years. And that's exactly what we're fighting for each and every day while we're here in Tallahassee. The best way for you to get plugged in as you watch this video and begin to think about ways to engage in the legislative process is to continue contacting those members that are in your hometown, in your delegation for your local county that are up here serving you in Tallahassee. As you communicate with them, be sure to tell them how important the library construction grants are, how important the library cooperative money is, how important that state aid money is, because it reinforces the good work of our champions in the legislature, and it reinforces the work that we're doing every day on the ground to set the stage for success in the final weeks as the legislative session draws to a close. We are so proud to be your advocates. We're so proud to be a part of this amazing association. We're grateful to the executive director, to Lisa and to her team for all that they do and entrusting us with the message. And on behalf of my firm, we look forward to seeing you maybe next week. Have some guests perhaps in the videos ahead. And we're grateful for your engagement in making the Florida Library Association the impactful organization that it is up here in Tallahassee.